Note to self: for future streams, I should just say that we're starting, even though we're not, just to people who want to troll it at the start, get their sounds out of the way. And I just quietly start the stream like 10 seconds after. I should just say that we're starting.
There you go.
Just to people who want to this is troll it at the start, get their sounds out of the the way.
We can't
And I
hear
just
an
quietly
echo.
start the stream like 10 seconds after. I should just say that we're starting.
There you go.
Just to people who want to. Okay, it should be better.
Oh, hi, it's Anarcho Bunny. I'm taking Filthy's quote because there's no copyright.
Okay, feel free to take it. Just be aware that you're the knockoff. I'm the original.
Oh, hey, I'm the Hoplu.
Oh, hi. It's, we got the speedrunner.
Oh, hi.
And we got...
Hi, I'm Esoteric Entity, and it's double blood point weekend on Dead by Daylight, so you know what that means for the tryhards.
My God, you have the laugh of a girl compared to me.
Probably.
Yeah, we're gonna hang them off hooks.
Fill them with,
out with a chainsaw.
I believe the term is twist their heads off and fill them with helium and watch them float away.
That's not a Mori. I'm talking about the Moris.
Okay.
Also, holy shit, I posted a video recently.
Yay. Alright, so let's get started on this. We have the, well, we can see the second topic, but our first topic of the day, and we're going to make this now a regular thing. Freaking why is the browser so laggy? So from now on, whenever we're starting a stream, we're going to be profiling an example of police brutality in the U.S. Because, quite frankly, there isn't enough being talked about in this front. Like, you think it's just like every story you hear now and then that goes viral, like the Philip Brailsford, Daniel Shaver shooting a little bit ago. I believe that was actually last year. But no, this stuff is going on, and it's going on constantly. There's a news story like every freaking day, and it's absolutely terrible. So
Philip Brailsford missed his chance to become a school shooter, so he became a cop.
Pretty much, yeah.
God.
All right, if you have random sounds playing through your mic, stop it. All right, so anyways, in Dallas, Texas.
Sorry, that was a notification.
Okay. So in Dallas, Texas, a man was in a parking lot, as you can see by the picture on screen, and he was he had a problem with his horn. So he spent his time in his car in this parking lot trying to fix it. And then this police officer comes up to him, points a gun at him immediately without asking for license or registration, and then demands that he gets out of the car while screaming and cursing.
I haven't fucking stolen enough money today.
No, he probably...
Yeah.
The guy was clearly... Like, there's a video posted, and the guy was, like, clearly agitated. What I imagine is happening is that in a lot of police districts and precincts, they have arrest quotas.
Yeah, they do. Like,
and
you can look this shit up. Like, there are people who've documented police, like, followed police around. They will literally, like, patrol the streets at night looking for people to arrest.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's bad news for the police who live in low crime areas. But anyways,
or bad news for the citizens.
It's even worse news for the fucking people that live in low crime areas.
Yeah. So as a result, you end up with situations like this, where you have a police officer who's probably looking at missing out a $2,000 bonus because he's one arrest away from being able to meet his damn quota. As a result, you have a police officer pulling a man out of his own car for the mistaken belief that he might be a car burglar. In fact, I'm even going to go so far as to say that this police officer probably knows that this guy's in his own car. He just doesn't care because he's been in the police for 10 years and he knows he can get away with this stuff. But more importantly, the arrest means that you arrest the person. Whether or not they actually did anything is irrelevant to the arrest. and that ticks that little checkbox. But it gets even more interesting because what ends up happening is that the police officer points the gun at him, demands that he gets on the ground, which you can see the video yourself. I'm not going to play it because it's graphic. You'll understand why shortly. He has him get on the ground, put his hands behind his head. He's trying to comply, but as you might imagine, he's confused. This guy just came out at him from the darkness and demanded that he get on the ground with his hand behind his head. As far as the driver, or the guy being arrested is concerned, this man is a car thief, but he's trying his best to comply. Then the police officer, or I should say the thug, puts his foot on the guy's back to hold him down, and then in the greatest display of restraint I have ever seen a police officer use, well, second greatest actually, he puts his hands around the guy's throat while he is on the ground with his hands behind his back. And as you might imagine, when you're on the ground, hands behind your back, a foot on your back, and hands around your throat, you could begin to freak out a little. Just a little. So he starts to struggle. He starts to try to get released, and he actually manages to get out or come out of it. And at the same time, like, he's begging not to be shot because the thug has a gun trained on him the entire freaking time. But it gets even more interesting because in typical police action, he pow twice on his back. An unarmed man.
That's, you know, what's even more
for his life.
That is when you can't breathe, you you instinctively start to like try to make it so you can breathe. Like there's no way to stay still while you're not able to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's your human anatomy acting up.
Yeah, that's why, like, if somebody's underwater and they're drowning, they'll start freaking out, like their heart will start racing, and because like that's what's happening is their brain needs oxygen, so they're instinctively trying to find the nearest source of oxygen.
Please tell me this cop's going to prison for murder.
There's actually a good news about this story. The guy survived. The guy who got shot survives, and it's only sort of better because he survives, and the police officer continues to insist that this man, who has 2 bullet wounds on his back, stay on the ground, keep his hands behind his back, or he will shoot him again. All the while calling for backup, saying, "Shots fired, shots fired." Yeah, you fired them, asshole, on an unarmed man who you're trying to choke.
Just amazing.
But it's all okay because I get that $2,000 bonus for meeting my monthly quota. Frickin'. Yeah, and the worst part is that you know this guy's gonna get away with it. He's gonna say he feared for his life. This unarmed man who isn't even wearing a shirt was presenting such a grave danger to the officer that he was justified in firing his gun.
Yeah, it's strange how when you were literally given the position where you were above the law, because let's be honest, cops are above the law. They do things which normal people would get arrested for. They don't get punished for it. I think by definition, that would make them above the law. It's strange how everything makes them so afraid. Just the slightest transgressions make them afraid once they have this position. Almost like this is a consequence of political authority.
Yeah, that's strange.
Actually,
no, it's not. So you just hate America.
No, there's actually a book that has all the laws that cops cannot have to follow differently while on duty. Like, there's a lot of things they can do while on duty that would be against the law when they're off duty. Like, as soon as they put that badge on, they have a whole new set of laws they're allowed to follow.
There is something about being granted authority that does cause people to completely substitute their any semblance of laws, morals, or ethics that they would otherwise abide and just substitute it for law and procedure, and that becomes the new good.
Anyways, I think we've spent enough time on this topic.
Yeah, okay. We're moving on to the next bit, the unarmed pregnant woman.
Oh, yeah. Yep, here's something that'll piss off both the progressive gun-grabbing left and the neoconservative drug-warring right. Basically, what happened is that a woman named Chrissy Noble had a man break into her apartment and attack her. The man pretty much just beat the shit out of her, but when she got an escape, she reached for a gun and shot the man 3 times and ran to her neighbor's apartment, calling 911. But unfortunately, the story is that she got arrested for using the gun to defend herself because in the past she had a marijuana conviction.
Okay, what did I miss?
Everything.
Everything! What the hell, man?
Well, I'm sorry, I had some fucking good pizza. It was like one they just put in an oven, but it was still good.
Wow.
I tried to go into
Okay.
Turbo Ultra Boost mode to come back here, but well, too late.
Okay, well, we're
I'm
talking
sorry to
Are we
repeat.
talking about the document?
No, we're talking.
No, we're talking about the armed pregnant woman, or the pregnant woman who is facing 24
that.
years in jail for defending herself because she had a marijuana conviction.
24 years?
Yes.
Yes,
She's facing.
24 years in jail. That is the life of her baby that is going into jail.
Yeah, this
Aren't
is
there
exactly.
rapists that have gone off the hook with much less time than that? Because man, the caliber of the statists.
But literally, she did nothing wrong. I don't give a
Yeah,
fuck
it's
if
really
she did
strange
drugs or
how
not.
it's really strange how these Second Amendment, because Arkansas, where this happened, is a pretty conservative state. So I mean, it's strange how all of a sudden these are big gun control people. All of a sudden, when it comes to felonies, because no, I'm pretty sure nowhere in the Second Amendment does it say you can have it taken away if the state decides you can have it taken away. Which is that's really what all of these you have a felony, so we can take your rights away. Laws. That's what.
If I recall correctly, the Second Amendment said "shall not be infringed."
Oh no! That's actually not correct. What the amendment says, word for word, is that the
You see, that makes too much sense.
here it is. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed unless the person was smoking a plant we don't like.
Oh, I forgot that line. Thank you.
Yeah,
Paul.
it's in the subtext. It's like it's in between the kerning. It's in between the kerning of the text. You have to
Hey, you know
use a
that-
magnifying glass, but it's
You know that,
there.
like- So you guys know that one episode of SpongeBob where that fat ass pretends his burger didn't come with pickles, and there's that one scene where he's showing the tiniest little text where he says it's you guys have guaranteed a refund. That's how I imagine with the Second Amendment. If you just zoom in with a fucking microscope, you'll see that one line.
Yeah.
At the tacked on at the very end.
Well, where's the heroes the NRA at?
Oh, they're over there trying to stop Cody Wilson from innovating gun control out of existence. Very important.
Oh boy!
So this is.
Hold on, Filthy. Don't spoil it just yet.
We're not talking about that yet.
Hold on. You can't. This is exactly why there is absolutely under no circumstances can you infringe upon someone's rights, even if they've done something. Even if they've done something wrong, they pay their dues. Or this is why restorative justice is the only sort that can actually work, because for example, you can't arrest somebody for 24 years regardless of what they did. Even if they murder somebody, like let's actually examine the non-aggression principle, for example. If somebody were to murder somebody, does that mean that you can kidnap them and lock them in your basement? No.
Yes.
Well, you might,
If somebody
but that
murders
doesn't mean you're
somebody
justified
else,
in doing so.
You can seek compensation for what you can objectively demonstrate you've lost, and you can shoot them in self-defense.
Pretty much.
That's so that, and that's the thing. How is it? In what way can you demonstrate that somebody doesn't have the right to own a gun? That's the problem here. Is there is no circumstance under which you would be able to ethically demonstrate that that's true, because the gun didn't do anything. The person holding the gun did.
And then here comes like the fucking screeching autist saying that, well, what about the people that die from discharges, like accidental discharges? Okay.
No. I think the amount of people who die from accidental discharges, I remember seeing this statistic somewhere a long time ago, where it's like 0.6% of or 0.6 kids die a year from accidental discharges in the U.S. So it's like, where's the half a kid who's dead now?
Oh yeah, there are more people that die from like just drowning in a pool than from an
No,
accidental
seriously
discharge.
though. You have all these pro-life people who are like, oh, we must protect the unborn baby. We must protect the unborn baby. Where the fuck are they? Where the fuck are they defending this woman who protected an unborn baby? Where are they? Fucking
Well,
Yeah,
hypocrites.
that's sort of that's an interesting thing when you throw all your. That's an interesting thing you get when you throw all your ethics and principles out the window just for the arbitrary whim of politicians. You start to get these little things called inconsistencies.
pretty much.
Like, this is the thing about this case. Both gun grabbers and neocons would rather this woman be dead. And same with her child. The gun grabbers would not like her to have the gun because, well, number one, she has a gun, and number two, she has the background check. And the neocons would not like her to gun because that conviction was because of a plant. The only alternative that they would have preferred is if she died.
It really is a philosophy of death, isn't it? Isn't statism?
Yeah, it is. Because
Which
it
is why I
seems like
say
everything it does ends up in somebody getting fucking killed one way or another.
Yeah, statists are the worst. They really are the worst kind of people. They literally want people to die. Like, if you're a statist, you might as well just wear a shirt saying, I hate humans. I want them dead.
Yeah, that's
Because
why
it's a
they're
death cult.
psychopaths deep down,
It's a
like
death
in some
cult.
sort of way. Like, I just want this fucking lid that I'm trying to close down. There, oh my goodness.
It sounds like you're playing Baldi's Basics.
I probably have a better chance at overthrowing the government than putting this fucking lid on.
Oh,
Yeah.
stop it! It's annoying.
Okay, got it.
Statism is a cult of death. It literally is. I don't care what anyone else says.
There is no police the law won't kill you for, and all laws are just opinions with guns. If you want legislation passed, what you're actually saying is that men with guns should go over and point them at people who disagree with you on a particular issue.
Yep.
So if you're going to demand legislation for anything, no matter what it is, even if you think it's moral or ethical, you have to be willing to, at the minimum, hold a gun on them yourself. If you can't do that, and if you're like, other people should do that, no, then I don't care what you have to say. I don't even care I don't even care if your law actually is ethical or moral.
Should we just no, one of these streams we should actually just read off the ridiculous laws in each state. Like how in Texas where I live, there's a law where you're not allowed to shoot a buffalo from the second story of a hotel building.
I know in Connecticut it's illegal to educate your dog.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, don't forget in California you get a $500 fine for detonating a nuclear device.
Would detonating a nuclear device in the San Andreas Fault, and therefore dislodging California from the connection to the United States and basically making it an island, that would only cost me $500.
Wouldn't even cost you $500 because at that point they wouldn't, exist.
Well, that's good. I mean, at that point, the nuclear device pays for itself. In a word, nothing.
If all you're going to get is $500 fine for that, I think I have $500 lying around to move California into the ocean.
Well, okay, I think we should start a GoFundMe page. $500 to pay for the fine to detonate a nuclear device in the San Andreas Fault. Get it started, guys.
I cannot wait for my beachside property.
Yeah, just do what Lex Luthor did in the first Superman movie and buy all the property you can on the border of Nevada.
Yuma.
Yeah, but have you seen what's going on in California right now? The insane amount of capital flight that's been happening in like the last couple of months.
Oh yeah, it's actually been nonstop. I mean, it's been going on for years, if I recall, since the start or since the
ghost towns. That's if you look at the cities, you look at the places where businesses used to be. They're completely empty. They look as if they were abandoned, like hastily, like they just left one day and gave no notice because there are UPS stickers on the windows.
I'm looking up
just like stick it, flip it, see you later, bye.
There's a Wikipedia article of ghost towns in California.
Oh, so there's so many of them that there's an article listing how many of them there are.
This thing is huge. Now I don't know if these are like ghost towns from like the Gold Rush, or
a lot of them probably are.
A lot of them probably are. So figure like 75%. But this list, like guys, go on the stream right now. You can look at it. This thing is huge. Like just oh my goodness. Goldtown, Goler Heights, Greasertown, Greenwater, Greenwich, Gursley, Grub Gulch, Gullions Bar, Guile, Hiley, Hamilton, Hart, Hatfields Cam, Hoboken, Hudson, Coquito, Holy City, Horseshoe Bend, Hollins, Horton. Like, oh my.
A lot of those sound like mining towns.
Yeah, I figure like 75% of them are, but oh man, like this is just. That's a lot of freaking towns. I have to make
an early departure because I have to play comp with this dude, and the only way to do that is, well, I need to leave so I can talk to him. So, I'll see you later, fags.
See ya. All right, yeah, this is going to be interesting because you can type in ghost town on images, and it's not going to be clear if you're looking at well, it's going to be mostly Gold Rush ghost towns, but anyways, yeah, that's
Well, anyway, are we already on our Cody Wilson topic?
Let's go to Cody Wilson, actually. This is a good segue.
Let's go to Cody Wilson.
Yeah, it kind of would tie in with the topic we're talking about now anyway.
All right, so so you can lead us. You can take the lead on this one.
Yeah, so in case you guys didn't see recently, Cody Wilson he's being accused. He's charged, and Kool, can you stop that? That's annoying me.
Sorry, I just knocked something over.
Okay. But, yeah, he got accused of having sex with a 17-year-old hooker in a hotel, but then all of a sudden she's 16, then she's 15. Now they're just not specifying her age, and they're just saying that she's underage. And so he was in Taiwan before the accusations were even thrown at him. He didn't come back to the U.S. He skipped his return flight. Fucking smart move, because he knew that they're trying to give him the Ross Ulbricht treatment. And yeah, so he just got arrested today, and I don't know. I've heard from people that Taiwan doesn't have an extradition treaty with the U.S., so I don't know what's going on with that, but dude, seriously, what the fuck?
Why?
I can hear people arguing in the background. Okay.
Sorry about that.
But I'm just going to say this right now. There is absolutely no fucking way Cody Wilson did this. It is 100% a smear job. More specifically, I'm almost positive that it is an entrapment, because for one thing, if you examine the official narrative for what's presented right now, I mean, who knows what they're going to be saying 5 minutes from now, because they change the story every couple minutes from what it appears. At first, it was a paper trail. They found out about it because of a paper trail. Now they're finding out about it because the girl blabbed to a counselor or something. So, all right.
Yeah.
That's good news.
Well, typically, I think we're going to be, this is going to be the way that the U.S. is going to be treating people that it determines to be inconvenient now. That they just come up with this chart.
The government has been caught doing this all the time. And if you actually examine the story, that website sugardaddy.com, you have to be 18 to join it. So even if he did do it, there's no evidence suggesting he knew that she was a minor. But yeah, if you actually examine this story, this girl had to break so many fucking laws just to get with this one guy who happened to be giving the state a pain in their ass. And this there are only certain circumstances where that happens, and all of them are fucking intelligence psyops or fucking law enforcement stings. That is the only time that this happens. Setups, essentially.
But more importantly, you can have a situation where the charges are completely orange Cheetoed up, and at that point, it doesn't really matter if there's any truth to it or not. You have the accusation, you have the media story out there, and all that's going to happen is that you're going to be put through the ringer of a horrible labyrinthine Kidz nightmare where you're out hundreds of thousands of dollars in lawyers. You're spending months of a time through litigation after litigation after litigation. All the while, they're trying to basically get them on perjury charges because they know they have something. They're just trying to create a situation where the law that was broken doesn't exist, but for them accusing him of having broken a law.
That's what it is. I think the people who created this narrative at whatever department of the state they were working for, it must have been their first time, because there are so many amateur mistakes. We're gonna say that he was fucking a 17-year-old. What was that? The age of consent in Texas is 17? Oh, well, she's 16. No, she's 15. Okay, we're just not going to specify her age because we clearly can't do this one. What was that? Cody Wilson's a crypto anarchist who would never leave a paper trail? Oh, well, would you look at that? Now we didn't find out about it because he left a paper trail. We found out about it because the girl went to a counselor and blabbed about it.
Yeah, that's totally believable. But perhaps more importantly, crap, I forgot what I was going to say.
No, so I'm pretty sure that, and if you look at how the media is covering this, it's absolutely fucking disgusting. The Hills article in particular, I legit want to punch the person who wrote that article, because that is so fucking shameful. It's so obvious what they're doing. And they say they don't know the first thing about him. Pedophile Cody Wilson is a gateway to the alt-right. Fuck off.
What the fuck?
That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
Yeah, they're accusing him of being an alt-righter in the media.
Yeah.
I'm terribly confused. I mean, am I a gateway to the alt-right?
Yeah, I guess by that standard, I would have to be one too, even though I fucking shit on them all the time.
Fuck, I'm a fucking left-wing anarchist, and I wouldn't say you guys are gateways to the alt-right or Cody Wilson. This fucking bullshit. This is more concerning, what's going to happen to other anarchists who are open. This is showing what they're willing to do.
It's very obvious that they're just trying to smear his reputation, and they're just trying to fucking arrest him for something he didn't do. So the story isn't that, Cody Wilson fucked an underage girl in a motel. No, the story goes more like this. Statists are saying, ha ha, we're going to take away your guns forever and there's nothing you could do about it. Cody Wilson turns around and says, nope. And then they're like, rape! Rape!
Pretty much.
That's more accurate. That's a more accurate description of what happened.
Now I think you made the point about the incompetence earlier. This is like the first time doing this. Well, I mean, they've also done a lot of other high-profile things that were very amateurish and were full of holes.
I mean, like the agents who planned this. Like, it must have been their first time writing a story or something.
What about the agents who did the what was it called?
It was probably theirs too. It was probably theirs too. But I'm just saying, yeah, you look at this and it's like they clearly didn't do their research. They have no fucking idea what Cody Wilson believes in or who he is. So they were literally just throwing random shit they pulled out of their ass at the wall and seeing what stuck.
But we can look at this of what will happen to other anarchists in the future. They're using this as an example. This is what we will do if you step against the state. This is why they're doing it. Because they know that with the internet and everything, anarchy is becoming somewhat popular now. And they're like, well, if we hit this guy hard, we can scare other people away from the ideology. I honestly think that's their main goal on that.
We're almost finished with the FNet project right now. Fuck you, Statists. You're not scaring anybody. In fact, you probably just made a martyr out of Cody Wilson, just like you did with Ross Ulbricht.
Great work. Well, I mean, the government's always been incredibly incompetent, and everything they do ends up with the exact opposite of results. Who would have thought?
Yeah, the thing is though with Cody Wilson is that the creation of these gun plans, that's open source. So Cody Wilson, that's the other thing. These people are so fucking stupid. It's legit like they thought Cody Wilson was the only one doing this. So they're like, hey, if we arrest him, there's not going to be any more of this. No, there's probably going to be even more of it now because people are going to be fucking pissed at you.
Anyways, we should move on to the next segment in our.
Well, I just want to say one more thing. I predict two things will happen if and when Cody Wilson goes to trial. One, the prosecution, the state, is going to have cooked up a bunch of random new accusations, just like they did with Ross Ulbricht, which they didn't talk about in the media to throw at Cody Wilson to catch Cody Wilson and his defense completely off guard. And they're going to have handpicked the jury, and there's absolutely no fucking way he's going to get a fair trial. He's probably going to spend decades in prison, even though he didn't even really do anything.
Let's just hope he doesn't come back to the States.
Pretty much.
That's his best opportunity.
Just go wherever, what's his name?
Snowden.
Yeah, just go wherever Snowden is.
Snowden's in Ukraine, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they don't have an extradition treaty either, so.
Get Snowden, Assange, and Wilson in the same place.
He chose a bad area to run, in my opinion, because there are only a handful of countries around there which don't have an extradition treaty in like Southeast Asia, and none of them are good places to live. You got Vietnam, you got I think Laos, you got of course Taiwan. Does North Korea have an extradition treaty with the U.S.?
I don't know, but I wouldn't go there.
I couldn't imagine him going to North Korea, but
I don't think they'd want an extradition treaty because anyone who flees there is already in an open air prison.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's go back to the part 3 of our FBI redacted report about the CIA's gun running program and how they're murdering people en masse to protect their backs and completely dismantling any semblance of separation of powers in the U.S. So anyways, where we left off, it was during this phase of the operation that Helms realized he needed funds for the aid of the Contras in Nicaragua. The only solution was to continue scrolling. With Horn is hard to understand. I feel like there's a page missing here. But anyways, we'll continue. For we have no documentation that Horn is paying Ferreira, or that Ferreira is making any monies in his association with Horn. On the contrary, the partnership has cost Ferreira everything he could call his own. It appears that two opposites have been fated to meet for whatever reason, and each furnishes to the other what each needed. Ferreira seems to lead a charmed life, and all attempt to silence him, as ordered, have not been successful. We have orchestrated 2 attempts on the general within the past 2 years, failing in both. Now, none of our agencies can touch him, for he is under the protection of the White House. This agency feels that the Oval Office knows that to cross the general would endanger the administration, but at the same time, they all agree the general would take any blame for anything, rather than throw any shadows at the presidency, as Colonel North was fast to do.
Okay, so now we've got proof that the CIA takes out U.S. government officials that they don't like.
Well, I think what's interesting is that this is written by the FBI, and it said, we have orchestrated 2 attempts on the general within the past 2 years.
Yeah, so the FBI does it too. Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, if you become inconvenient, even being a government official won't protect you. Well, apparently, like, all this happened is like Ferreira put himself in a position where he was simply too powerful to.
Seth Rich.
Oh, Gesundheit. Anyways, looks like Ferreira put himself in a position to be too strong to be taken out, or even though there were attempts on his life, he survived them either because he's the most luckiest son of a bitch in the universe, or the government is just incredibly incompetent. Anyways, continuing. The Bureau has had as many as 24 agents assigned to monitor all movements of Ferreira, but when he started to approach our agents and reprimand them for terribly sloppy methods of trailing, we just decided to abort. We cannot report why the Helms, Dufresne, Rothschild cartel has not.
Rothschild cartel. Jesus Christ, this is so juicy.
We cannot report why the Helms, Dufresne, Rothschild cartel has not yet given the approval for Horn and his people to collect their funds. All the intelligence we can gather leads us to believe that it is all connected to the political situation in Japan, and that they are waiting for that to settle down before they allow the risk of release of the funds. That is the only matter of assuring themselves that the Japanese will play ball to the very end. During the past year, there have been 14 inquiries regarding the general to various government agencies, and all can be traced to friends and or associates of Marion Horn. We have taken all of our agents away from Marion Horn and all of his group and his trustees, as ordered by justice, and we have destroyed all documentation pertaining to them. So in closing, we must add that other information to the Studebaker Black Eagle affair must be obtained from the non-existing files of the CIA. We are sure that if the general does not exist, then there are no files. Just to remind everybody, General Ferreira, as far as the government is concerned at the time, does not exist. He is legally a non-person. Anyways, Greg, I don't know who Greg is, knew the right man for the overseer's job, Felix Rodriguez, a fanatically anti-communist Cuban exile who had worked for Greg and the CIA in Vietnam. Rodriguez volunteered his services to battle the Sandinistas. Greg deputized him to oversee the distribution of illegal arms to the Contras, primarily as a staging area in El Salvador. Both Greg and Bush have since denied knowing anything of any illegal operations to arm the Contras until 1986, and it is unknown if Bush actually knew of Black Eagle. When Noriega's notoriety as a drug trafficker became widespread, the CIA concluded that it was time to put distance between him and the Operation Black Eagle. Accordingly, a revised operation, codenamed Supermarket, was set into motion by Casey. Now, isn't that interesting? The Iran-Contra affair, here we have the FBI in a top-secret document admitting that not only was the Iran-Contra affair illegal, but that, they admit that the U.S. government was breaking the law. Once again, proof that if you want laws to be broken, you have them legislated into existence by a state. So Noriega would have a small and non-direct role in the supermarket operation. Misha Harare, the former Mossad operative, was to take full command. His contact was U.S. Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North. North himself would prove to be naive, saying he did not know that the bulk of the money was from narcotics. This is as much information as the Bureau has been able to obtain for the moment, Senator, for inasmuch as from the minutiae that General Ferreira decided to fully support the Kentucky group, all papers have disappeared. We feel that the CIA wanted everything shredded, because Ferreira had too many personal operatives, loyal only to him, and he would eventually find out about the whole operation, as he did with Seal. So, any comments thus far?
Not really. What you just read speaks for itself, but this also isn't really a secret because the Iran-Contra thing, so far, is the only part of this which at one point was actually covered in mainstream press. So everybody sort of already knows about the Iran-Contra thing.
Yeah, but the difference is there are still a lot of conservatives and neocons today who will say that the Iran-Contra affair was not illegal. And I know this as again, my past. So
yeah, you're right. I've heard them do that. You're absolutely right about that.
So, conservatives, let me ask you this: are you saying that you know better than the FBI in regards to what is legal and what is illegal? Are you saying that the Reagan administration didn't do nothing? Well, the FBI, in a top secret document, would disagree with you. Now, maybe they're wrong. I don't know. But, you kind of have to contest this. And I think it'd be hilarious to see people like Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro have to address this. Mark Levin especially.
Republicans are never going to go against Reagan. That's a pipe dream. You're asking Republicans to actually go against Reagan because, I mean, they'll go even to the point of claiming that he did things which he didn't actually do, like the whole lowering taxes and deregulation narrative with the 80s. If you actually look at what Reagan did, he increased spending, and regulations, of course, continued to increase under his administration. So
the best conservatives can usually say about him is that he slowed the growth, which, thanks a lot, man. Really, really helped out the state of the country. Like, way to slow it down instead of reverse it.
That's not even true because he greatly increased spending. But then if you look at his foreign policy, yeah, he was about as fucking military imperialist as any other president's been. Perhaps more so than most of them.
Mm-hmm.
But no, according to these people, though, military spending is justified spending.
Well, of course. I mean, there was never been such a thing as a war that was fought that was never completely justified. I know it's a straw man, but still. I mean, if you listen to the some conservatives and all the neocons, military spending is good for military spending's sake. Because we might be attacked. Good Lord, who's going to attack us? Switzerland? Iran's going to come after us with their, 20-man army?
Or one of those countries which people can't even point to on a map, which we inexplicably have military bases in.
Yeah, because the Kyrgyzstan Royal Army. I don't even know if that's what they're actually called, but because the Kyrgyzstanis are such a threat.
The Kyrgyzstans are coming for you, filthy. Don't sleep tonight. They're going to come chop off your head.
Ugh. Well, it's a good thing we have a giant bloated military. Anyways.
Yeah. There are military bases in Georgia. Oh, those Georgians are going to come. Wait, not the ones in the States. Yeah. Did you know that there's actually a country called Georgia? I'm not. I know you guys know that, and I know that's common knowledge, but most people probably don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you don't know about the Georgian military? They've been clamoring for a crusade for centuries, and they're looking towards you specifically, SO.
Oh
Hey, buddy.
no.
Yep, they're coming for you. I can
Your
hear them
enemy number one,
now.
SO. Your enemy number one, SO.
I can
hear
hear
them
them
in your
now.
house.
They're actually, I'm looking out my window right now. I can see them marching down the street. It's really weird.
With their monocultural language.
Yep. So, anyways, this is as much information. No, we already read that. When General Ferreira had Seal eliminated, he inadvertently toppled the source of funds for the Contras. For like a domino theory, with Seal gone, everyone started to look out for their own hides, and one thing led to another until the discovery of so-called Iran-Contra North affair. As stated before, it is impossible to secure any new information on General Ferreira other than that which we enclose copies of. It is known, however, that as of this writing, the general is penniless, and still will not risk his government by allowing anyone to know of his dilemma. The connection in 1976, this did not prevent CIA Director Gush from approving Noriega's enrollment as a paid CIA asset, working directly for Armitage. In 1977, a report detailing drug dealing by Noriega and other Panamanian military officers was sent by General Ferreira to the White House, where it disappeared. When Admiral Turner replaced Bush as CIA director, he toppled Noriega from the agency payroll, but the Panamanian was restored to the agency's good graces when the Reagan administration came into office. General Ferreira and Spadafora continued to complain to the CIA about Noriega until Noriega found out about it from Casey in 1985. Noriega had Spadafora tortured to death, then dumped his body in a U.S. mail sack and mailed it to General Ferreira in Mexico City.
Wow.
Pretty friendly guy. This looks exactly like a mafia drama. This is the kind of stuff that you probably expect from a lost Godfather's transcript, isn't it?
Yeah, it does. It really does. In fact, there's that pretty famous scene from The Godfather where the mafia cut off that horse's head and put it on the foot of that dude's bed, his like favorite racing horse. I mean, I'm not saying that a human is comparable to a horse. I'm just saying that like mailing somebody body parts or limbs is totally something they would do.
Like, this is like literally almost like a movie script. Like, it's hard to believe. I mean, I do believe this is all real, but this sounds like a movie script, honestly. Like, this should be written for a movie, not reality.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing about a movie script is that fiction still has to ground itself in reality and believability in order to keep viewers immersed in the story. Reality does not have to conform to that rule. That's how stranger than fiction is a thing. Anyways, this was Noriega's way of making a point. Ferreira, it is rumored, went undercover on his own into Panama and somehow made his way into the compound of General Noriega. There, in the general's own bedroom, General Ferreira is said to have accosted Noriega, bound him up, and personally cut off the testes of Noriega. Then he stuffed the testes into Noriega's mouth. The Bureau record the incident in its entirety, and the voices, with our hidden mics, but somehow this whole documentation has disappeared from our vaults. The general injected Noriega with a full dose of cocaine and left him bound in a drugged stupor. It is believed this is the cause of Noriega's cocaine addiction. Noriega cannot inform anyone, because he would have to tell all that he is not macho, and he lives in constant fear of Ferreira. He has even offered to make peace with Ferreira, but Ferreira has not paid attention to the overtures. Noriega, we have learned, revealed all about the Black Eagle operation to Castro. Freaking Godfather script right here.
Chop off his balls and put it in his mouth. That's actually a pretty cliche like threat that I'd hear like a criminal make in a movie.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like, this is the kind of mob level stuff that happened, and the CIA is trying to protect this guy.
Well, the state literally is like a mob.
They
It's
mentioned
pretty much a mob.
earlier in these documents that this General Ferreira guy has sort of de facto control over the CIA. At one point, he did, at least.
He kind of still does, because as an untouchable, he can basically see and do whatever he wants, and any security footage that even suggests that he continues to exist just suddenly goes missing. Gee, I wonder how that could have happened. Yeah, anyways, this bureau has raised the question of how much then Vice President Bush knew about the operation, especially Noriega's involvement. Our documentation is ambiguous, but a central fact is that Casey, concerned that the operation be as far removed from the CIA as possible, hit upon the idea of using the Vice President's office as a cover, arranging it via Bush's Chief of Staff, Donald Gregg, a former CIA officer. In return, Noriega was able to offer the Israelis the use of Panama, the Vienna of international intrigue in the Southern Hemisphere, as a conduit for embargoed arms to Israel.
Oh, so they parentheses are involved.
Yep.
All right. Getting interesting.
I'm pretty sure the Illuminati is in here somewhere. I'm pretty sure we already got. Let's see if we can cross down the checklist of secret societies, organizations.
We got the Rothschilds.
We got the Rothschilds. Let's see if we can't get the Bilderbergs involved, and possibly the Freemasons.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all that the Rothschilds are involved. In fact, based on the way they talk about them, it makes it sound like the CIA is the personal army of the Rothschilds.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me in the least.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all, but it's just kind of, again, much like with everything in this document, it's not necessarily surprising, it's just kind of amazing to watch them say it.
Yeah. I mean, they've already admitted that the Iran-Contra affair is illegal. What else are they going to do? So anyways, when Casey sought out Harare in 1982 to help set up a covert Contra support operation, the Israeli knew the perfect point man for the job, Noriega. He was now a general, and the most powerful man in Panama with no balls. At that point, Casey had been given secret intelligence report gathered by the private intelligence army of General Ferreira, telling Casey, with proof, that Noriega was a full-fledged drug trafficker, allowing Panama to be used as a narcotics transshipment point. The CIA could not allow this report from Ferreira to be seen, so Casey contacted Ferreira and offered to make him his second-in-command of the agency. Ferreira turned it down, stating that he was going to commence to back off, so as to retire later. We intercepted a conversation between Ferreira and Helms, in which Ferreira stated that when Casey offered him something that big, there must be a reason for it, so he turned it down. Ferreira had his own mole with the government of Panama, Dr. Hugo Spandafora, Panama's Vice Minister of Health under dictator Omar Torrijos, also a friend of the generals. Following the unexplained death of Torrijos in a plane crash, Spandafora Torrijos in a plane crash, Spandafora at first allied himself with Noriega, then learned from Ferreira that Noriega was playing all sides of the street and into drug smuggling. Spandafora found out that Noriega was being paid $250,000 per year by Casey as an asset for the CIA, while at the same time he was providing information to Fidel Castro, and worse, Noriega was deeply involved in the drug traffic into the United States. This bureau has copies of all documentation to substantiate all information contained herein.
So the CIA caused the drug problem, confirmed.
Yeah, actually. The reason that things are the way they are in South America is because the CIA wanted money.
So, could somebody make a Picardia meme of the CIA? And it says, when you've literally done everything wrong that an organization could possibly do wrong, but statists still think that you should be around.
I mean, so far it's just been like an unending litany of the government trying things, making everything worse, and people dying as a result.
People, mass murdering people, getting people hooked on drugs in mass, destabilizing other societies, destroying economies simply to enrich some of the upper members of the CIA and our governments, or not even to enrich them, but just sometimes for pawns to be played in our political operations. It's fucking horrible, really.
These people are actually the worst. All of the above came to the attention of Helms, who did not know who was playing for whom. The only person that he felt placed in the country above his personal gain was General Ferreira, so he enlisted the help of the general in digging everything out. The general found out, with Spatafora, that as early as 1972, the CIA was aware that Noriega had been named in a federal drug enforcement report as a trafficker. The operation, only this time, it had to be put under the control of Armitage, with the full knowledge of Bush, but not of President Ronald Reagan, nor of now General Ferreira. Ferreira had to be kept in the dark because of his total aversion to the drug trade. He was assigned to other missions by the agency as a way to keep him in the dark. Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North was brought in to run the operation. History has now proven that Colonel North was no General Ferreira. To avoid any risk, Helms had to stop the sale of the CD.
CO, I think. It is CD. This is fucking typewriting shit. No, it says CD later on the page, so it's definitely CD.
Yeah, I'd just like to know what the CD is. Anyways, fortune smiled on Helms, for the Horn Group did not follow the precise manner of cashing the instrument, trying to do it in a rather haphazard manner. This gave the door so Lazuka could be accused, along with the Horn people, of having stolen the CD, and thus have all papers confiscated and everyone, except Lazuka, who was a participant with the government, be lost in jails in the Far East forever.
I think they're talking about the evidence of the Iran Contra and the government's involvement.
Probably. I mean, so no trace, no records. This would have been successful, except that as yet unknown persons came to the aid of Horn, and he was allowed to leave. The Mitsui Bank and the Japanese government officially declared the instrument to be a stolen blank, and thus a forgery. And on the 21st of November of 1983, all was confiscated from one John Burns and Horn. This was carried out by the Commercial Crime Division of the Singapore CID by the Chief Inspector Chai Young Sung. At least that is what the records that we have copied show. At this point, Senator, how much in fact and how much is fiction is hard to tell, but we believe that the records in our possession pretty much prove that all is about as close to the fact as is possible for something like this. So here we have something interesting, that in order to basically cover up, they were willing to have people who did absolutely nothing wrong, at least in the context, thrown in jail basically forever.
And it is that the government admitting that even they don't believe this shit, even though they're the ones, like, doing this?
Yes, actually. I would have overlooked that, but totally. They can't tell, like, what's real, what's fiction, what the CIA just made up in an attempt to obfuscate. I mean, the government has no obligation to tell the truth, but in this top secret document, it makes sense that they're trying to.
Could you imagine how horrible what the CIA did? That they're telling them this, like, if this is all fake, how bad it really is, like, or what things in here. Like, we don't know which ones are or aren't, I guess, in this case. I guess we'll just assume that it all is, since it's a top secret document. But yeah, the CIA probably, that's a good point that this document raises, that the CIA probably is being a bit liberal with the details that they're presenting. So,
let's not forget that there are numerous references to shredded documents. So there is probably stuff that is a lot worse than this. And keep in mind, top secret is not the highest level of classification a document could possibly have.
breaking news, Kiro the Wolf is a CIA agent. And what he did, you've seen that guy who's a furry that basically is getting shit on by the internet because some chat logs leaked of him and some of his friends killing animals and having sex with them and talking about pedophilia. Turns out he's a CIA agent. And he was on a top secret CIA mission.
Is that real?
That's why he did that stuff. Yeah, apparently it is.
Yeah, all the stuff about where I don't know if we should mention their name or not, but yeah, that the logs are real. Then I would not recommend opening them without a VPN, and even then, I would not recommend opening them if you want to eat in the next 2 days.
Oh, fuck that! No, I'm not. I'm not like looking into that. I'll just take their word for it.
Pretty much. It begs the question.
I saw it because I like to see the evidence myself, and yeah, it's not good.
Could Logan Paul be a CIA agent?
Logan Paul's a CIA agent. Yeah.
We now need to look into this.
He's a CIA agent, and his task is to make America's kids stupid.
I mean, Dapperton
That's what public education was for.
Dapperton did prove that he was lying about being colorblind, so... Yeah, anyways, let's continue. Next part. As we have stated before, mistakes have been made by the Helms people, but not as major as allowing Armitage to be in charge of the continuation of Eagle 2. The name was changed for the operation to Golden Triangle, because none of the contacts established by General Ferreira for the purchase of the drugs could be used, because the General would become aware of the situation, and thus he could blow the lid off the government participation. Again, present history shows us that Armitage became the consummate double dealer and the perfect triple crosser. We have documentation that we have bought showing that Helms and the CIA are in possession of all the proof needed on the actions by Armitage. This bureau estimates that Armitage has amassed a sum in excess of $100 billion. Our agents within the Oval Office inform us that they suspect that Armitage has invested all in gold, and that the gold is deposited in various countries of the Pacific Rim. We will try to obtain full confirmation on this to you, Senator. I'm trying to figure this. Something about this is really jumping out to me. I'm just not sure where it is. I mean, General Ferreira, the guy's clearly has something very, very strong on the CIA. Because the guy, as you said earlier, SO, the guy's basically the de facto leader, and at the same time, he's not. He's.
I don't know what could be fucking much stronger dirt to have on the CIA than this. I'm kind of scared. I don't know if I could handle that getting leaked.
I bet I would be. I bet I could handle it getting leaked, and I bet I would just have the happiest day of my life.
Serious. I could handle it being leaked, and if it did, I would read it off with you. But I'm just saying, can my mind comprehend it?
It's hard to comprehend all this. It's hard to comprehend all this leak.
Mm-hmm.
This is like stranger than fiction right here.
Pretty much. Now let's see here. Now, when all the papers and documentation from Horn were given to Inspector Chai by one John Burns, the Japanese government put all to one side, waiting for a future date to once again try the Operation Cleanup. It was felt at the future time Mr. Marion Horn could again be used as the buyer, and thus the washer of the funds. We were constantly kept informed by our paid informant in the Far East, Mr. William Sing Mang Lang, aka Bill Sim. Since that time, all concerned have been silenced, in one manner or another. even to include a French player, one Fahir Hamid Paka, now in federal custody. So, yeah, what do you think cleanup means? You have Ferreira's agents that were mentioned earlier. I can guarantee you they weren't free people for much longer.
Yeah, cleanup, based on the fact that they described killing a few thousand U.S. civilians to keep their involvement in Southeast Asia, making them disappear. I could only imagine what cleanup means.
And remember that these people need to be silenced in one manner or another. What do you think that means?
Oh, they were killed. They were definitely killed. If they can kill thousands of people and not think nothing of it, you'd think they wouldn't kill these people.
Yeah. Oh, but don't worry, the government would never kill us.
Of course not.
No.
Why not?
Even though technically murder is constitutional on the part of the government. Just saying. Yeah, but anyways, I think we're out of time right now, so we should probably just wrap this up.
Let's have our final thoughts then, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. So Cody Wilson's innocent. That girl who tried to defend herself and her babies kind of screwed up that she got arrested. Well, no, it's not kind of. It just really is. CIA niggers are at it again, and yeah, cops killing people in cold blood like they always do.
Well, the guy survived, actually.
Well, the cop tried to kill him. Like, don't tell me. That's what he wasn't going for.
Oh yeah, he was. I'm pretty sure he might have actually been, at the same time, disappointed and relieved because you can't arrest a corpse, and I don't think a shooting counts towards the arrest quota. So yeah, probably happy.
If you support the state, you're either retarded or just a complete piece of shit. That's my thought for the night.
I think Omen Rose said it best. Terry A. Davis smiles upon us.
This is like some shit he'd make up, honestly. And yeah, while I'm reading this, I can't help but think of some of the rants he's gone on. And yeah, some of that stuff Terry said is pretty hilarious. Like, I was watching one video of his where he went to the grocery store. Some guy cut him off in traffic, and he was talking about how the CIA uses people to cut him off in traffic to try and assassinate him. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it past him at this point. That sounds like something they'd actually do.
Oh, who knows? He might have actually been right all along.
Terry A. Davis is a MK Ultra victim. No, think about it, because he started off as a programmer in the mid-90s. He just out of nowhere starts noticing voices talking to him in the radio, and all of a sudden he starts talking about the CIA. Think about it. He's an MK Ultra victim.
I wonder if he played Polybius. Anyways, yeah, thank you for coming onto our stream. We'll do this again.
Polybius.
What?
He created Polybius.
Ooh. So he knows where it is. The person who finds Polybius is going to be the richest man in the world, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, thank you for coming on. We'll do this again, same time, Friday, Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday. See ya.